Good news, Hall effect keyboards like this one are cheap now. This is the Yunzii RT75 HE, and this baby is a HE board for only $90 US, which leads to the question, what are the trade-offs? Now, the key for any Hall effect keyboard, of course, is performance. This has a minimum actuation point of 0.1 millimeters, which is standard, and runs at 1000 Hz. In my testing, feels responsive enough and fast on a 480Hz display. Some tests online seem to indicate that the wooting might be like 1 millisecond faster than this keyboard, but let's be for real, you're not going to be able to notice such a difference. In my human eye test on a 500Hz display, it performs excellently, and I don't feel like I'm playing worse on this versus my wooting keyboard, which is great. For anyone that isn't an enthusiast, a tryhard, or a geek, this difference won't matter at all, and rest assured, if you're coming from a normal keyboard especially, the performance is a night and day improvement over a normal Mac for gaming. As for software features, this thing is actually pretty solid with a decently good web UI suite. It has mod tab, just like a wooting would, for having a key be programmed to do multiple things. It has rapid trigger that works as expected, and it has SOCD if you want to do snap tap stuff, and you do use that. It also has all the adjustability and programmability that you would expect from a Hall effect keyboard. Maybe not as intricate or as detailed as a wooting one, but good enough for 95% of anyone that buys a Hall effect keyboard. As for other things, it's a pretty simple keyboard. A practical 75% layout with a volume knob in the top right. It's actually a metal volume knob, which is quite nice to touch. It does have a rather unappealing, scratchy plastic body that's extremely light, but at least there is no flex or no creaking on anything, so no real complaints. But it is very light, so when you place it on your table, it does slide around quite easily, even with the rubber feet and adjustable kick feet on the back. It's got PBT double shot keycaps though, which is really nice, and it's grey color that fits my aesthetic basically perfectly because I'm a boring person. And it's also gasket mounted, and in my opinion, the sound is pretty okay straight out the box. The stabilizers do need some work, but they actually have a decent amount of stability and they are not too rattly, so if you don't mod them, you'll probably be still fine, but you can if you wanted to. These feature Otamu Hall effect switches, and while they aren't amazing, they are quite light. They feel quite smooth and feel quite lubed, and their sound is okay. Not to mention the fact that they feel even better than my wooting lacquer V2s, which are, in my opinion, the worst Hall effect switches I've used till this day. Apart from the SteelSeries ones, but those don't count because those are not hot swappable. There is basically no stem wobble, which is kind of my main issue with the lacquer V2s from wooting, and all in all, I think they are okay switches. You can actually swap these switches out. They are hot swappable, but they don't have the two prongs that will support most of the other switches on the market these days. But hey, it's a $90 Hall effect gaming keyboard. I'm not going to be too harsh about its support for hot swappability. Anyways, have a listen to how it sounds. So, is this cheap Hall effect keyboard worth it? Well, at $90 your main trade-offs are really only the build and the sound. For that price, you do get a well-rounded Hall effect experience that has good gaming performance and no major deal breakers that I can report. It's executed well enough that I really don't have many complaints. If you put in some elbow grease and mod the keyboard with some stabilizer mods and maybe some sound mods, you will actually be in for an experience that's definitely worth even more than the price tag. So all in all, this makes this Yunzii RT75 Hall effect keyboard quite value for money, especially if all you want is getting on a Hall effect gaming keyboard and getting the advantages of things like rapid trigger, faster actuation points, and customizability in Hall effect. If that's all you want and those features are what you're trying to look for, this is a solid, cheap gateway drug into the world of Hall effect. And as far as virgin experiences go, probably going to be a pretty solid one. What do you think? Do you like this keyboard? Tell me in the comments below, like and subscribe.